diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HORN.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Welcome back in. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats normally. Gabe's here. Stats is not. Brian Dacus is in.
I'm here.
For Brett Stats, Norsworthy. Now, listener line 901-360-8255. We have some texts. Just got done talking with Bill Bender about college football playoff and college football as a whole. Got a couple of texts here. Auburn wins out. They're in with 2 losses to the college football playoff. I think that's a possibility. Yeah. A win over Bama is going to get you the college football playoff committees. You'll be on the good side, to say the least.
For sure.
Someone says Auburn controls their own destiny. I do think so.
Yeah, that goes back to the last text message. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Bill Bender did say it's certainly a possibility if they with Auburn, it depends what everybody else does. Mm-hmm. And with Auburn, I think also, you think Penn State, having lost that game, they want Penn State to do well down the stretch.
Yeah, you want Penn State to win every game.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they will. But
I don't think so either. And winning that Ohio State game would have been big for Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
If they're planning on winning that Alabama game, which I think they are. Brad texts in. Is Mississippi State ranked at 17 with 3 losses to make Alabama look good?
Maybe.
Brad, I'm going to say yes, because I think in a lot of these situations, they give SEC teams the benefit of the doubt. You can beat a middle-of-the-pack SEC team if they're slightly above 500. If they're 500, they give you a lot of credit for that. Whereas I think it's pretty purposeful that Cincinnati's opponents or possible opponents, SMU and Houston, are unranked at 7-1. I think they do this purposefully.
You got any texts about Wake?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What does it say?
It says if Wake goes undefeated, they should be in.
Yeah, agree with that guy or girl.
If they go undefeated, I think they very well could and probably should.
6 for sure. Top 6 for sure.
I'm not convinced they get out of this weekend alive, though. I'm sorry to say it, Jay. I apologize.
I'll give them top 6 though if they go undefeated.
I'm gonna call a win
against UNC. You think they can do it?
Yeah, going in Chapel Hill.
Tough place to play, though. 2.5-point dogs. 2.5-point dogs.
Love it.
And they're Wake Forest. They can score points. Defense defensively,
better hop on FanDuel.
A little hot garbage. Just be honest. Now, I wanted to bring this up just real quick. Jeff Banks, who's the special teams coordinator at Texas, was at Alabama for a while. We talked about the story. Left his wife and kids for a stripper named Pole Assassin, who was on the Jerry Springer show. So there's been a lot of drama going on in that Texas football program this week.
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian was asked by the media today if it's a distraction. Steve Sarkisian said it's not a distraction, it's a personal matter. And I want to focus on this word distraction. I think a negative distraction would be what we're seeing with the Raiders, with Henry Ruggs and John Gruden. That could affect game planning. That could affect people's moods and everything else. I can tell you from being in one of these locker rooms, those players are having so much fun with this news. And people that think, oh, well, they knew about it. They had to have known that his wife was a stripper. No, they didn't. Nah. You think they went around when Jeff Banks got hired and say, hey, say a fact about you? And he said, yeah, no, I left my wife and kids for a stripper named Pole Assassin. That was probably not like the first thing he mentioned.
What else is there to talk about?
I don't know. Maybe he likes golf. I like grilling. I like smoke.
Well, I like Halloween. He put up a whole haunted house for it.
Yeah, I love Halloween. I love using my smoker on a Saturday or on a Sunday because he coaches on Saturday. But look, this is hilarious to me that Steve Sarkisian is trying to say it's not a distraction. It's a distraction. But I don't necessarily think it's a monumental negative distraction for the team.
They got a big recruit today. I don't know if Gia the monkey played a role in the recruiting process, but 4-star safety.
Sarkisian can recruit.
He sure
I wonder
can.
I wonder if Jeff Banks preached family on the way in.
All in.
Except
for me and my family.
Make sure that
We're
you
not all in.
Make sure that you love your family. We're a big family here at Texas. Anyway, that'll do it for the first hour. Thanks to Bill Bender for that one. On the other side, we're going to bring on Keith Smith to talk some NBA from Yahoo and Spot Rec. We'll do that when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello. Family Leisure has done it again, and just in time for the holidays, they have the ultimate game room sale. From pool tables to theater seating, Family Leisure has you covered. If you like pool, or you like shuffleboard, or you like air hockey, there's a special price, and your friends will love coming over to your house if you want to watch the big game, or you want to watch a movie on Netflix or HBO. You can't get more comfortable than you will be in that beautiful theater seating that Family Leisure has, and it's on sale with the Ultimate Game Room Sale. Free delivery, by the way, on all in-stock items. 20% off on all game room accessories. Hey, beat the Christmas rush and get your game ready right now. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. They want to make the holiday special at your house this year with the Ultimate Game Room Sale from Family Leisure.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. you got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
The Tigers are home November 6th for homecoming against SMU at 11. Get your tickets at GoTigersGoTix.com. During the month of November, you can purchase tickets to any of the 3 remaining home games for just $80 with the Chick-fil-A family plan. This includes 4 tickets and 4 Chick-fil-A meal vouchers for just $80, a savings of over $50. Hurry now and don't wait on this great deal. November 6th against SMU at 11 o'clock. Sponsored by Conway Services and the Commercial Appeal.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 2 is here on Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe and Stats. Instead of Stats, we have Bryant Dacus, normal producer of this show, in the co-host seat. Jay Morgan Harder producing the program. If you want to hear anything that we talked about in the first hour, we talked with Bill Bender about the college football playoff, had conversations about the Grizzlies. Make sure you go to sports56whbq.com, go to featured audio, or go to the podcast section, and you can catch every single hour of every single show right there for you to listen to, for you to see as well when you go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Now, as we do normally on a Thursday, let's bring in our friend from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rat, Keith Smith, at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. Keith, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. Now, the story of the day is the Robert Sarver situation. I don't want to get super into it, but what is your feel of, he's been there for a while now. Have you had any encounters with him? What have you heard from certain people within the NBA about Robert Sarver?
I have not, and a lot of the allegations that are made in the piece published by ESPN were things I had not heard before. I knew he was a difficult person to work for. I've known for quite some time that he's bottom line driven. It's not necessarily all about championships with him, but a lot of those other things that were in there, those are things I had not heard, and it's not a good look, obviously, and he's refuting it and saying it's all not true, and we'll see where that goes. But yeah, this is something the NBA is going to have to take a look at pretty deeply and then take action on if necessary.
Do you think this is a situation similar to what we saw with Donald Sterling, where he may be forced to sell the team?
It could be. I mean, that article had a lot of things in there that are really pretty gross behavior. So it certainly could end up going in that direction. I'm not sure that's where it will ultimately go. They're going to need some more definitive proof. That was one thing that they had with Donald Sterling and the Clippers. They had recordings of him saying the things he said, and we also knew that the Donald Sterling had a years-long list of things that had been not great on his ledger, so that made it a little easier for the NBA to go the direction they went.
And I'd say one of the strange things about this situation over the Donald Sterling, no one came to Donald Sterling's defense because everything was out there. It seems like some of the people in the front office have actually come to his defense to a certain extent. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, there definitely have been. There have been people within that organization's leadership structure, both basketball and business side, that have come out and said, look, I've never seen any of this. This is not the guy I know. This is not the guy I know him to be, and those sorts of things. And we'll see if that continues. I've learned over the years that there is almost no act so heinous that someone's not going to other side it and say, well, we got to think about the other side. That tends to, unfortunately, be a very common thing in this day and age.
Yes, but we will see how it works itself out. I know the details are going to continue to roll out on that story. Now, the Celtics, team that you cover relatively closely, had a team meeting after the Marcus Smart pass-more comments to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. What's your feel on that situation, and what do you think has been the biggest issue with the Celtics starting the way they've started?
Yeah, I think the Marcus Smart comments got taken a little bit out of context. Yes, he did say they don't want to pass the ball, but it was within a bigger answer about how late in games they want to have the ball, they want to score. And also I've seen a lot of Marcus Smart wants more shots. This guy shoots 25% from the field, and that was not what Marcus Smart was asking for. He very much wanted to be in a position to try to help make life easier for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That was what he was really getting at there. As far as the players-only meeting, there were some people who pushed back that it wasn't quite that serious, that it was a team dinner, and then guys, the coaches let them have time to themselves before that. So maybe that's a little bit more the way we should look at that. But, yeah, right now things are not going good for the Celtics. They're not playing well. They're not winning games, and all those things are adding to situations where you have a lot of people unhappy right now.
I mean, is this a situation where it can continue to spiral and they end up having to trade a guy like Marcus Smart, or do you think this players-only meeting kind of healed some of those differences that they thought they had?
Yeah, it could go there. I don't think it's going to. I don't think that's where we're going to get to. It would have to get pretty bad to the point where guys would be in a position where they do not want to play together and be around each other anymore, and I don't think we've gotten there. But the reality is this Celtics core is now into year 5 together with Tatum, Brown, and Smart. This is Jason Tatum's 5th year, and they are all together. So it really is a situation where in 5 years, I think Brad Stevens put it really well. In 5 years, guys are going to butt heads. It's going to be a thing that happens. These teams, they think of them like families. Well, with your family, the longer you're together, the chances are you're going to get into it a little bit.
And I completely and even if they were taken out of context, I sort of understand in the grand scheme of what the Celtics are trying to do. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are fantastic talents. There's no question about it. They shoot well. They can get to their spots in the mid-range. They can take it to the rim. But they really aren't. I mean, they really aren't distributors in any way, shape, or form. And I understand to a certain extent Marcus Smart's plight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what gets lost a little bit is we want players to be these perfect all-around players. Right. And some guys are not that. Some guys are great passers. Some guys are great defenders. Some guys like Tatum and Brown are great scorers. That doesn't make them any less as players because they can't go out there and rack up 10 assists. But what you want them to be is willing to play within the framework of an offense that works. And what Marcus Smart's point is, hey, let the rest of us make it easier on you. Rather than you bring the ball up, go straight into an isolation set, and you're going to dribble it 25 times and take a contested jumper, let's move the ball around. It's still going to come to you. We still want you guys taking the shot at the end of game. But let us make it a little bit easier by getting you the ball to do that versus you having to work so hard to create everything all on your own.
And I understand that. I understand that completely. Now here in Memphis, Grizzlies at 5-3, won 3 straight games against Western Conference opponents. They've looked relatively good, but the big conversation here is about Jaren Jackson Jr. 4 years, $105 million before the season started, and pressure starts to mount when you get that type of money, especially within a fan base. Last night he had a good game, 22 points, played good defense at the end of the game against Nikola Jokic. In your experience with young players and watching them sort of grow in the NBA, when do you think is fair to assess Jaren Jackson Jr. As a NBA basketball player? How much more time has to pass? How much more of a sample size do you think needs to be seen?
Fully recognizing that guys can continue to grow and and change and add to their game deep into their career. I always think about Jason Kidd. Didn't add a three-point shot until he's very deep into his career, and then he became a consistent, pretty good three-point shooter. It's generally once you hit about year 4 or 5 in the NBA, guys kind of are what they are by that point, meaning it's not like all of a sudden a player is going to come out and add an off-the-dribble game that he's never shown signs of. But what you're looking for with a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. is he's shown signs at times of being a very impactful defender, and then at other times he's kind of drifted and not shown up on that end.
And the fouling.
What you're looking for is, yeah, exactly, the fouling or the sometimes when he's not engaged in the direct action, he loses track of his man, he gets a little bit lost off the ball and those kind of things. What you're looking for is last night when he showed, hey, this is what I can do when I'm fully at the height of my ability as a defender. So what you're looking for at that point is, all right, now we want to see that. It doesn't have, we say every night, and I'm guilty of it too, every night is hard to ask for a guy to be at his best every single night. It's just not going to happen. I'm certainly not at my best every day. But what we're looking for is be at that best more than once in a while. We want you to be at the best, quite often. And that's something that I think we're looking for with him on the defensive end. And then offensively, just looking for him to add and round out a little bit more versatility to his game. Maybe take a couple dribbles into a jump shot now and again. Attack a closeout, which he hasn't shown a lot of with that. More than just being a pick-and-pop jump shooter and a guy who's going to finish baskets around the rim. If that's all he ever becomes, well, he's a pretty good shooter already, and a pretty good finisher around the basket area. But if he can round out the game, that's when you go from pretty good player to very good player.
I know we've talked a lot today and this year about that second group for the Grizzlies, and they haven't been super impressive. How important do you think getting Dylan Brooks back would be for that second unit, kind of moving some guys around with him being put back into the starting lineup?
Yeah, huge. They need somebody else. And I get it. I've made the jokes, too, that Dylan Brooks, there's no shot, no defender he doesn't think he can't take and beat. He's got that, as we call it, a rational confidence, right? But you need guys like that. You do need guys who are like, hey, I got this. Get me the ball. I'm going to make it happen. And I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing in the world, because right now the only kind of guy who I think you feel really good with I've got this, I'll make it happen, is John Moran. And more often than not, he is. But he needs a little bit of help. And I think once you get Dylan Brooks back, too, it starts to re-slot everybody else into a position where everything starts to make a little bit more sense for everybody. I think D'Anthony Melton's probably ultimately the guy who will go back to the bench. And then that allows you to have him off the bench, pushes another player a little bit lower. I think they've got to do what they can to get Brandon Clark on track again. He's just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. Had a good rookie year, a little tough, second year. Now it's just, who knows, where he's at. So let's get him kind of back on track and going a little bit better. And all of a sudden, the team that right now depth looks okay can start to look really pretty good.
So the Grizzlies this past offseason have shown that they are willing to be as active as possible if it means to help out their future in what it is as far as rotations and getting guys in there that they can use to build around Ja. I think the untouchables right this second when you talk about trades and making moves, John Moran, of course, Jaren Jackson Jr., and more than likely, based on his play so far, I'd have to say Desmond Bane might be in that category. Now, the rest of this roster, Steven Adams, DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, even Tyus Jones, probably Brandon Clark, a guy you just mentioned. How much do you think the rest of the league looks at those guys and sees value? Do they see value in a lot of the guys on the sort of cusp of the rotation on the Grizzlies roster?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of value in that roster. So let's use Brandon Clark as an example. Yeah, he's struggling right now, but there's probably 25 teams that would say, hey, we can get him right, get him in our rotation, and he's our best, bench big, maybe even a starter on a handful of teams, but with, play with energy, just, kind of change games defensively potentially and those kind of things. the guy I know that 29 other teams would love to have is a guy like Kyle Anderson, because he is very plug and play. You can drop him on any team with his skill set. He's just a good teammate. He doesn't need to have the ball a lot, but if you have to run things through him, you're fine. People like him. D'Anthony Melton has a ton of fans around the league. I think the good thing for the Grizzlies is they're not sitting on any contracts that anybody looks at and says, oh, boy, that's a tough one. But on the flip side, they're not sitting on any contracts that you look at and say, all right, that's a big number. They can move it, and it's not really going to change things. For them to get a true difference maker, if it was via trade, they're going to have to pile together 3-4 contracts to go get a player like that. And that can make things kind of difficult to do that, because now what you've done is you started to sacrifice a lot of your depth.
And then with a guy like Dylan Brooks, how on the table do you think he is as far as being moved?
Yeah, it's interesting with a guy like Dylan Brooks. I don't know that it's something where they're out there combing the league and offering him up in trades every day, but he's also somebody that teams like. I think the very best teams probably like him a little bit more if he's a guy coming in off your bench, or if he's your fourth or fifth best player instead of your second or third best player. I think that's ultimately where he would slot. And I think on the flip side, if Memphis, they have their 1A guy, right? Or your number one guy in John Morant. Now you're looking for the 1A guy. You're looking for the number two. You're hoping that might be Jaren Jackson Jr., but if it's not, I think you're looking for, all right, how do we get that? Slot Jackson in as our 3, Brooks becomes our 4, and all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good about where things are at. How do you get to that next guy? That's what the challenge is.
So since we're on the topic of trading guys away, I know Damian Lillard was a guy that a lot of people talked about in the offseason maybe getting moved. He said he had a conversation with Chauncey Billups that ultimately made him stay. He's kind of in a little bit of a slump right now. Do you think that's a guy that they would, or he want to get out of there, guy that they would move around trade deadline or at the end of the season or anything?
No, not a chance. They will not move him because he is their franchise guy.
But do you think he'll ask for one? Do you think it's getting to the point where that relationship's not there?
No, I don't think so. I believe what he has said in recent weeks, especially when he was in Philadelphia and they were chanting, we want Damian Lillard or whatever it was, or come to Philadelphia or whatever the Philly fans were chanting, and his comments of, I appreciate that, and I love the way he put it, I'm 10 toes in Portland.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was great. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He is one of those guys. His very thoughtful, insightful answer as far as, I don't know that it would mean as much if I left and won somewhere else just because I left to go win. I think it's there. Now, it's November, at the beginning of November. I don't think it'll be this year, but if they have another disappointing season, this is all going to come back up again. And I've just covered this league too long to know it's pretty rare the guy who goes wire to wire with one franchise. It just doesn't happen all that often. Guys tend to move more often than not.
So the Lakers, when we're looking around the league, it's some of the favorites to win the NBA championship. The Lakers have won 3 straight. Now, granted, 2 against the Rockets, so I don't know how much stock we can put into them. What have you seen any growth so far with the big 3 for them? Obviously, I know LeBron has an ab strain, will be out for at least a week, but there was some certain questions last time we talked about how they would fit together. Have any of those sort of concerns been eased by you?
Yeah, it's weird when we talk about baby steps. We usually apply those to a young rebuilding team, but that's kind of what we're looking for with the Lakers right now. It's baby steps towards being better. Now, a big chunk of this is they don't have the lineups and the roster flexibility that they envisioned when they built this. But that's the problem when you sign a whole bunch of guys who are closer in age to me than they are to guys who are coming in the league. That's gonna be an issue. Right. But what I have seen over the last week, let's call it week plus, is they've put Russell Westbrook in some different positions. They're using him as a screener now, which is something the Nets did a ton of last year with a guy like Bruce Brown, which the idea is your screen was a small for someone like LeBron, because then another small is going to have to come over. But if LeBron it's Westbrook on the roll. Westbrook's, for all the things we may not like about him, he's still one of the best passers in the game.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is he's going to make good things happen there. And then what you don't have is the defense can't play a mile off him as he dribbles up into the screen to try to bait him to take jump shots because he's catching it generally in and around the paint area. Mm-hmm. So that just is an offensive wrinkle that they went to that's interesting. He has screened more, set more ball screens in the last week than he has, I believe, if I have this number correctly, in the last 4 years of his career combined. So that gives you a sense of they're saying, hey, we got to use you different because we have to incorporate you with the talent we have. They've also gone more and leaned more into the small ball lineup.
Yep.
They said, we're going to play Anthony Davis at the 5 more, and we're going to, make it work this way. Now, some of that's been out of necessity as Dwight Howard's been out with injuries, and they only have one other true big, but they're doing that. And then the last thing is they're really going to Carmelo Anthony, and they're saying, hey, he's on a hot streak right now. We're going to ride him as our key bench guy right now. We're going to go to him. We're going to run stuff through him. It's looking like prime Melo back in his Knicks days.
And it looks like he's sort of, he is in a position right this second where I am seeing things out of him. He's way more comfortable with this Lakers team than any other team I've seen him in the past 3 to 4 years. But he's certainly making a case for 6th man of the year early in the season.
Yeah, he absolutely is. At this point, I'd be hard-pressed to pick anybody but Tyler Hero.
Oh, yeah, right. That's true. It's very true.
But, yes, if Tyler Hero didn't exist, we'd be talking about Melo right now because that's how good Carmelo Anthony's been. He is really it was great to see him when the Portland Trailblazers, completely out of necessity of having no forward depth a couple years ago, and just basically saying, hey, we have a chance, if you can come in and make the most of it. And what he did was, all right, I'm going to change my game. I'll play off other guys and all this. Mm-hmm. And what he's built himself back to now is, hey, we can get Carmelo the ball, and he can do his thing for a while, especially on these second units. And that's really cool because it's awesome to see a guy this deep into his career not be so stuck on saying, this is who I am, I got to do this. He's really embraced it and rebuilt. And now, oddly enough, he's kind of come back full circle to, hey, we need you to be the guy with the ball a lot, scoring a whole bunch of points.
Last couple things here for Keith Smith from Spot Track and Yahoo Sports, at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. With the Heat, you just mentioned Tyler Hero, how well he's been playing. Are the Heat, as far as a title contender, are you there yet? How comfortable are you with that team when it comes to playoff time, being able to produce?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with them as a playoff team. I was higher on them as a playoff team than I was a regular season team, and I'm starting to have to maybe rethink that a little bit. Now, I do want to see when they get into it against the best teams in the East. Now, they beat the Bucks, but you guys can't see me. I'm doing air quotes around Bucks.
Yeah, right.
Because it was very few of their regular players are out there. So what I think with Miami is they are really benefiting from Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, you don't think that Kyle Lowry is not the first guy you think of when you talk about a team playing with good pace. Mm-hmm. But what he does is he's not racing the ball up and down the floor with it in his hands like prime Showtime Magic Johnson did. But what he does is he'll get it and he hits that hit-ahead pass and gets it up the floor. And they're stealing a ton of early, easy offense with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. So, yeah, I'm buying them. They defend. One thing I'm a little cautious about, I don't want to go too far with it, is their depth is not great. Hero's playing great off their bench, but after him, it's some shakiness behind that. So we got to see what happens when inevitably they have, one of their main guys goes down for a week or two. What does it look like at that point? But for right now, Miami looks really, really tough.
Yeah, early in the season, you're not too worried about injuries yet with that Heat team. Real quick before we get you out of here, your best feel on if Ben Simmons is ever going to play a game this year?
He'll play a game this year. I don't know that it'll be for Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
I continue to keep going back and forth on this where I probably should just stick with my initial gut feeling was Ben Simmons will never play for the Sixers again. That's what I felt a long time ago. Then he reported, and we started hearing, things are going pretty good, and we're starting to get on the same page, and those kind of things. And then we hear, that was just a bunch of nonsense. He's just kind of showing up and doing the bare minimum. I don't think he ever plays for the 76ers again. And I'll go you one step further. I don't think he ever plays a game in the city of Philadelphia again.
Wow.
I think if he's on another team, I don't think he will play road games there or anything like that. We know how tough that place can be on people, sometimes on their own more than the visitors. Yeah. But he would face plenty of bile coming out of that crowd being spewed his way. So, I don't think he's ever going to play there again.
I didn't even think about that, Keith, but that's a fantastic point. Yeah. Him returning as a opposing player. Oh my gosh, they would get the batteries out, they'd get the beers out, and they'd throw everything onto the court. So fantastic point, Keith. But he is Keith Smith from Yahoo and SpotRack, joins us every single Thursday. Keith, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one. Keith Smith. If you want to follow him, at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. That's a great point, man.
That's a fantastic point.
Ben Simmons going back as an opposing player to Philly. Whew. That's scary. That's a terrifying thought.
No, it really is.
Now, I don't know with what he's done in refusing all of this mental help and refusing the doctor's help, 76ers doctor's help, that is. I don't know how much another team right this second wants that.
Yeah.
But his skill set's fantastic.
Oh, for sure.
And he could help a lot of teams. But it has been an up and down roller coaster for the 76ers and Ben Simmons. I think both sides have really screwed that situation up beyond all repair. When we come back, we mentioned it briefly with Keith, but the Robert Sarver situation, the Suns owner being accused of misogyny and racism within the organization. We have to discuss this a little further. We'll cite certain examples. Former coach for the Suns, Earl Watson, has given out his accounts.
Former Grizzly.
Yeah. Has given out certain accounts of his time with the Suns and with Robert Sarver. But we'll do that when we come back on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether you're driving for distance, pitching for precision, or putting to win it all, come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop to get custom fit for all your clubs throughout your bag. Hit a few balls and let our team show you the latest swing technology and data that will help optimize your game. Having each club tailored to become your gamers will help you start shooting lower scores. Let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you make every shot the perfect one. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your early bird special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip, also also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight just like the rest.
Spread it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Halfway home on a Thursday. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Stats not in. Stats will be back on Monday. In his place today is the normal producer of the show, Brian Dacus. Producing the show, our good man, Jay Morgan Harder. Jay, you doing well over there?
I'm doing awesome.
I am glad to hear that. Love hearing your voice. Love having you around, man.
Hey, man, I'm happy to be here.
I don't know why he's standing. Sit down.
He's what?
It's theater of the mind. I'm not standing. What are you talking about?
Hey, don't tell him. Well, you don't need to tell our guy what to do, man. He's on the ones and twos today, though, doing a great job. Do have a text here from our friend Keith. Keith says, and this is about college football, Auburn in the playoff is when pigs fly. However, I just witnessed stranger things. I'll say this. If Auburn beats Bama and then beats Georgia in the SEC championship, that is about as likely as pigs flying. But if they do both of those things, they're in. They're in. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But that's a lot of needless to say. That's a whole lot of work that they will have to get done to put themselves in that position. Now, to Robert Sarver, Suns owner. He is being accused, and this is sort of came out a week ago, but we got all the details through an ESPN story. Well done, ESPN story, about Robert Sarver and his misogyny and racism. The big example that was brought up in 2016 when Earl Watson was coaching the team in his 1 year. They were playing Golden State. Golden State ended up coming back late in that game and winning the ball game. There was a technical foul that was induced supposedly by the N-word. And Robert Sarver, in a weird situation, decided that he was going to repeat the N-word several times. Earl Watson, by the end of it, said that he told Robert Sarver he could not do that, but Robert Sarver continued to say the word. And I don't understand why he thought that was okay. Now, there's more than 70 employees interviewed to do this story that ESPN has put out. An NBA spokesperson, in response, Mike Bass, said the league has not received a complaint of misconduct at the Suns organization through any of our processes, including our confidential workplace misconduct hotline or other correspondence. And that makes it complicated.
It does. It makes it very complicated.
You have to have some type of report in this. This is not, and we mentioned it with Keithsmith, this is not a Donald Sterling situation where you had a bunch of things on tape that were said out loud and caught on a recording device. This is a lot of talk between people, but this is a lot of people saying the same thing. Yeah.
And they said they have a lot of people who are now willing to come out and talk about it, and they want to get it out. And one thing I saw, I don't remember exactly who said it and where I saw it, but somebody put out that they said that if the commissioner came to Phoenix, he would be appalled of what he saw.
Yes. I've heard the same thing.
That is wild.
It has to do with crude language, has to do with sexual innuendos. At one point, there's a story about how Robert Sarver kept referring to his man parts and saying that he wears Magnum condoms, and he thought that was okay to say in front of people. There's another example where he was with Taylor Griffin. Taylor Griffin, for those that don't know, is Blake Griffin's older brother.
Yeah.
And apparently he went in during a weight session and talked with Taylor Griffin about how much sex he has with his wife and his girlfriend, and asked him about Taylor and his girlfriend, which is just, let's be honest, completely ridiculous.
Like, why does he think people want to know this?
Here's the thing. It's a weird situation, too, because James Jones, their GM, who won GM of the Year last year, who was one of the best executive of the year.
Oh, yeah.
He has come to his defense and says, that's not the Robert Sarver I know. So it's you have 70 people that are willing to speak up, and you have certain people around in that organization, in the higher up positions, that are willing to cover up for him in a weird way.
Right.
But here's the crux of what I want to get to. It sounds like Robert Sarver is very typical of a multimillionaire, billionaire type guy, where he uses his power and thinks that he can do or say whatever the hell he wants.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
And he thinks like a child in a lot of ways, like a teen, like a preteen, like a prepubescent
Well, he just
kid.
thinks that since he has all this money, he can say whatever he wants to say.
And did you hear the example of during the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, when people were doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge?
I did not hear this.
He pantsed one of the account executives in their ticket sales department.
Classic.
Oh, stop. Stop it. But he pants a guy in front of 60 or more people when they were doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. He sounds like a child, a petulant child. And you're not funny, Jay. You're kind of funny, but you're not funny.
You're kind of funny.
But pantsing a guy in front of that many people, come on, dude. Fix up your head. It's very immature. And you own a team, and there's also an aspect of this where he would go up to all of his coaches. Because think about how many coaches the Suns have had since, since Steve Nash was there.
Yeah.
We're talking about every single year you're having a new coach. Nobody wanted to work in the Suns organization until now. Monty Williams has figured it out with James Jones, and they seem to have everything going in the right direction. But apparently, Robert Sarver was big into X's and O's talk. Told his coaches what plays they should be running.
Oh, I'm sure.
Would walk in after losses and tell them, hey, you should be running a low pick and roll.
Jay Morgan,
a high pick and roll.
You've coached some. Would you like someone coming in and telling you how to coach your team?
I would not, Bryant. Good question.
But no,
think that's hilarious.
When you are in an owner position, when you're an owner, you hire guys to do the coaching. Let them do the coaching. If they're bad, fire them.
Fire them.
And there's been a lot of firings that have happened in Phoenix and with that Suns organization. But Robert Sarver, I know more will come out. We'll see what this leads to. But this is a very complicated situation. This is not as easy as to say he's just going to have to be forced to sell the team. They're conducting an investigation as we speak.
Yeah,
the NBA is.
Announced that.
And we will get, no doubt, undoubtedly get more details in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months.
This isn't, sometimes we see, not in the NBA really, but across sports, we see rushed investigations. I just hope this one isn't rushed.
Oh, Brian, here's
when it's complicated like this.
It's complicated because you have certain people backing him and saying this is not the Robert Sarver I know. I understand that, but the NBA is going to be
has
pro.
Done a good job with it.
They're going
NBA
to be pro-employee that is accusing someone
of any other league.
But they're going to be pro the person saying that this guy is being racist, sexist, and using
100%.
sexual innuendos around the office. And they will investigate it. And I'm not saying that they're going but they're going to have a predisposed belief, and they're
Yeah.
going to know who to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll rush it. But again, you're just going to have to wait to see what they make him do if he has to sell the team, blah, 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 blah.
What do you do you think ultimately he'll have to sell the team?
The details I've seen so far,
I think he will.
The details I've seen so far, I'm not ready to make a full, I guess, guess. But if there's more things that come out, if they can prove without it, beyond the shadow of a doubt that he did say the things that he's being accused of saying, yes. But you have two very separate sides in this whole thing.
For sure.
Robert Sarver, I don't doubt that he did this, but you have people that are coming to his defense.
Right.
And I'm not ready to say he's going to sell the team. This is not as open and shut as the Donald Sterling situation was with the Clippers. Again,
that
on
was
tape, very obvious
pretty
what was going on. The players didn't want to play for him. So that is what it is. Now, the Ben Simmons situation keeps getting uglier. I don't know, as of yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, he's refusing the 76ers mental help. He said he's not mentally ready. They want to get him mentally ready to play. And he says, I don't really care to get mentally ready to play using your doctors. I
just don't get that. I don't.
Look, I think this is beyond repair. I think these guys have tried to put on a brave face in the past few weeks to say, "Oh yeah, we can repair the situation." Right? It's Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers knows what he's doing. He really knows
he's
how to get into a player's.
He's changed his mind.
I think
100% in.
I think the Ben Simmons in Philly is completely over, and he's not helping himself.
No, and we've had a lot
but
of
I also don't
conversations about
think
this before.
personally. But I don't think personally he has to help himself and help his
but
trade
that's the
value.
thing, but I don't think. I think when you do things like this, it's not a good look.
Well, you
at
want.
all.
There's two sides to look at it. Part of me says you want out of town. You want to get traded.
Yeah.
Go make yourself tradable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think that the 76ers have a right to say, well, we need to get a certain return out of you, so you got to come back so we can then get that return. You got to shoot free throws better to get that return.
It's a mess on both sides, honestly.
It's been botched time after time, and it's bad. It's very bad. Now LeBron, he has an ab strain. He'll be out for a week. His Lakers sort of tenure has been just injury after injury after injury, and that's not what we're used to. Well, I mean, he's, 36?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, year 19. I mean, at some point you have to realize that he is that old, and he's going to have bumps and bruises throughout the season. But it's been bad for him.
It's been really bad.
Now, I will say, I think that Lakers team's more apt to succeed with him out now that they have Russell Westbrook.
And we've talked about Russell Westbrook looks better when LeBron's not on the court.
Yes, because he likes having the high usage rate. And, two of them at a time has worked okay. Like, they haven't been the worst without having LeBron on the court because Russell Westbrook is there to pick up some of that production. And I'm not sure that all three of them have figured out exactly how to work together yet. They've won their past 3 games playing the Rockets twice. So, again, not sure how much you can take into that. But I still think there's a process with them of trying to learn how to play with each other because they're all high usage guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have 3 different guys that all came from teams where they were the star, and now you're putting them all on the team. I mean, you would hope that Anthony Davis and LeBron are more worked in together just because they've been together longer. Yep. But you throw another piece in there, and that kind of messes it all up.
And you throw a piece that is just, I mean, one of the more high-usage guards in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
Not just
it's
not just in the NBA
yeah,
now. In the history of basketball, he's the best stat getter we've ever seen. And that's the truth of it. Now, to run down the rest of the show, here on the other side, we're going to have Thursday Night Football, Jets at Colts, preview and pick. 5 o'clock, Greg Gasson will join us from the Tiger sideline. He does Sports 56 mornings from 7 to 10 on these airwaves. 5:45, we have Taco Bell Crunch Time. Also, stay tuned. I'm giving away 2 tickets to the Tigers SMU game. SMU visits Memphis this weekend in the Liberty Bowl at 11 a.m. When we come back, we talk some NFL and Thursday Night Football on Sports 56 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Family Leisure has done it again, and just in time for the holidays, they have the ultimate game room sale. From pool tables to theater seating, Family Leisure has you covered. If you like pool, or you like shuffleboard, or you like air hockey, there's a special price, and your friends will love coming over to your house if you want to watch the big game, or you want to watch a movie on Netflix or HBO. You can't get more comfortable than you will be in that beautiful theater seating that Family Leisure has, and it's on sale with the Ultimate Game Room Sale. Free delivery, by the way, on all in-stock items. 20% off on all game room accessories. Hey, beat the Christmas rush and get your game ready right now. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. They want to make the holiday special at your house this year with the Ultimate Game Room Sale from Family Leisure.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
The holidays are fast approaching, so start on your list now at Mid-South Hobbies. E-Flight airplanes, Athearn trains. Mid-South Hobbies has a huge selection of cars, trucks, and boats from Arma, Losi, Axial 1/10 and 1/24 scale cars, trucks, and crawlers. Spectrum batteries and all accessories are here now. Santa shops local. Hope you do too. Make your holidays fun and exciting at Mid-South Hobbies. Open 7 days a week at 4862 Summer at Mendenhall. Call 901-682-9402 for more details and information. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Mid-South Hobbies.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents per gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code HORN for a 25 cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HORN.
Years from now, when you're telling stories about watching Ja Morant when he was just starting out, you're going to want to remember where you were when you were watching him. And that should be Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. It's the perfect neighborhood bar that also just happens to have plenty of high-def TVs always tuned to the Grizzlies if they're on. It's a laid-back atmosphere at Sweetgrass Next Door, a place where you can enjoy a game, practically any game, without having to deal with a lot of people that don't seem to know how to behave in public. If you're looking for great food, signature cocktails, and the friendliest people around, you're looking for Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Welcome back in, Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe and Stats. No Stats. Bryant Dacus in, normal producer of the program. I know that the MLB season's over. Braves were crowned champions. Just wanted to give the people a reminder. We have Taco Bell Crunch Time later. Taco Bell. Free taco today.
That's today, isn't it?
That's today, November 4th. Get out there, go get your taco. You soft taco or hard taco guy? Gotta hear from both.
Well, go ahead, Brian. You go first.
Hard taco.
Hard taco?
Sounds like we put you on the spot there. Doesn't sound like a genuine answer.
Well, because
he had a question mark at the end of that one. Hard taco?
Okay. It's a long story.
Okay. Well, I like a soft taco, Gabe, and I'll tell you.
I'll tell you why. You can tell me why.
Tell me why.
When you go to that Taco Bell today, don't just stop at getting the free taco. Get one of everything on the menu. Everything they've got is delicious. I love Taco Bell.
Love Taco Bell. Those nacho fries are great.
Oh, the nacho fries are awesome.
They're great. They are fantastic. I mean, seriously, love Taco
Isn't
Bell.
is it still a Doritos Locos tacos that you get for it?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I hope so. They're going to be delicious.
I will be driving by today and taking whatever they give me.
Exactly.
And I might pour more.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to buy more. I'll tell you that much.
I haven't had Taco Bell in a while.
It's good stuff, though. Love Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, we have Thursday Night Football tonight. Jets at Colts. Colts 14.5-point favorites. Mike White will get the start for the Jets. But real quick, there's been some notable activations, and we've had some COVID-19 nastiness and issues around the NFL. Let's start with the good news first. Packers' Devontae Adams has returned from the COVID-19 list. Looks like he will be active for their game against the Chiefs.
That's a weapon for Jordan Love.
Yep, that is a weapon for Jordan. He needed it back because with what Aaron Rodgers won that game last week against the Cardinals with, Jordan Love ain't winning that game. Texans, Tyrod Taylor, back from the hamstring injury that hampered him in Week 1. That's their only win of the year.
That's big for real.
Yeah, and they're playing the Dolphins this week, 2-1-7 teams.
7-point favorites last time. 7-point underdogs last time I checked. So that's huge.
Your ears perked up when you heard two bad teams playing together.
Bad? I'm sorry. What?
Hey, he's a Dolphins guy.
Yeah, but Tyrod Taylor and the Texans will be in action against the Dolphins. Christian McCaffrey to return from the IR. They have not activated him fully yet, but that hamstring issue it looks like it's going to be part of the past. We'll see how long he stays off the IR because it's been sort of often that he's been on it.
What does that mean for them?
It means that they have their biggest weapon back.
Right, but that's they were already a pretty. Their record isn't great. They've lost the past couple weeks, but that's already a pretty good team playing well.
I think they need him back with the way Sam Darnold needs a safety net. Hadn't been playing as well.
Man, I was so high on Sam Darnold at the beginning of the year.
Yep. And his first 3 games, he was great.
I was calling MVP here.
Dak Prescott is listed as probable.
I think he'll play
this weekend. Probable against the Denver Broncos. Obviously, the calf strain kept him out until now. And then also Taysom Hill back at practice.
Huge.
2 full days in a row of practice. Now, the big COVID-19 issue, Giants. 13 positive tests yesterday. The guys that missed practice, Saquon Barkley, that's huge.
Yeah,
Their guard, Matt Skura, he's a starter.
Yeah,
Safety Xavier McKinney, he's a starter. Mm-hmm. Today they canceled in-facility meetings for the players this morning. And also they made sure everybody who was not a player or I guess they call it level 1 personnel, they made sure they went home today. Last I had heard they were going to try to fit in practice in the afternoon, but not looking good for the Giants. Now, tonight, let's get to it. Jets at Colts. Colts minus 14.5. Mike White, 405, 3 TDs, 2 INTs in the W for the Jets against the Bengals.
Did you see his stuff went into the Hall of Fame today?
I saw that. Good for him, man. I played against him at various places in college. He was at USF, then Western Kentucky. He
4,000 yards twice.
Y'all, yeah.
They beat the hell out of us.
Torched y'all.
At Boca Raton when he was with Western Kentucky. Now, as far as picks go, I'm going to go ahead and give Brett picks the Jets covering plus 14.5. I don't mind that pick. When you look at the Colts, though.
It's up to 14.5?
It's 14.5, yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But the Colts, what have you thought? I'm just going to go ahead and pose this. Carson Wentz, where's he at for you?
I like Carson Wentz. He's not completely up top, but I think he's done a sufficient job.
I remember when he's playing at that MVP level in 2017. He got the ACL hurt. Never been the same.
Hey, no, he'll play at an MVP level for a throw or two, and then he'll play at not an MVP level for a throw or two, and then he'll go back to the MVP level.
Last week,
he had a couple non-MVP level throws there.
He tried to avoid the safety by throwing it out of the end zone through a pick six to the Titans
MVP
last
to
week.
non-MVP play ratio?
He still has some great plays. He looks like the greatest quarterback I've ever seen sometimes, and then other times he doesn't.
And when he tucks it and runs and gets going, grinder, man.
Just a move.
Huge grinder. First one in, last one to leave. But he's been okay. He's been better the past few games.
Yeah.
But he still makes those plays that in 2017 he was not making those plays. But he early in his career, he couldn't live to fight another play. He just always had to. He sold out on every single play. Now he doesn't play that way quite. But that Colts team's getting better, and with the injury to Derrick Henry with the Titans, their window is open.
Yeah,
they're playing. It's restored. I think it restored whatever their urgency after that happened.
Yep, their window is open. So Bryant, you go ahead and make your pick for tonight's game.
I'm gonna go with the Jets. I don't think they win, but 14.5 in an NFL game is huge.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. We're not gonna have group lock.
Wow.
I am absolutely going Colts. Oh, it's not. It grew to 14.5. We have it at 10.5.
Yeah,
we have it at 10.5.
That's what I thought.
It's grown. It's grown. I apologize. But we have it at 10.5. I am going Colts minus the 10.5.
Take it at 14.5.
I'm Colts.
I don't think you get to choose, Bryant. The odds change when you make the points larger.
No, I know.
So you're Jets.
I'm saying
you're locked in at Jets.
Yeah, but I'm saying I might actually bet on it if it's 14.5.
But yeah, I'm going Colts.
What about you, Jay Morgan?
Oh, I didn't know I get to give a pick, but I'm going to also go Jets.
You're going Jets. Colts, I just think Mike White played over his head last week.
He's definitely not going to play that well.
I think everybody's giving him the benefit of the doubt going into this week. I don't
change my pick. I'm going with Gabe.
I don't see it going that way. You pick one. Come on.
I did. Colts.
All right, cool. On the other side, we're going to have hour number 3. Greg Gaston joins us from the Tiger sideline in Sports 56 mornings. 5:30, I want to have a big discussion with Brian Dacus about what the Oklahoma State decision means for the Tigers basketball program. The IARP case is looming over top of their heads. What kind of punishment are they going to get? We'll discuss that further. 5:45, Taco Bell crunch time. When we come back, it'll be time for Greg Gaston. You're listening to Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair up to $1,500 even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us your repair receipt from any company and we'll buy back that repair. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in for that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioning systems get older and inefficient, the cost of repairs and higher utility costs almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code TRIP for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TRIP for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRIP.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you're looking for more out of your battery? We can help. If you're in need of higher performance, we'd go with Duralast Platinum. It's the best choice for premium power design for your vehicle. And the line now includes EFB and AGM technology, which means we've got the right Duralast Platinum battery for you. And they're only available here at AutoZone. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
The Tigers are home November 6th for homecoming against SMU at 11. Get your tickets at GoTigersGoTix.com. During the month of November, you can purchase tickets to any of the 3 remaining home games for just $80 with the Chick-fil-A family plan. This includes 4 tickets and 4 Chick-fil-A meal vouchers for just $80, a savings of over $50. Hurry now and don't wait on this great deal. November 6th against SMU at 11 o'clock. Sponsored by Conway Services and the Commercial Appeal.
Hi, folks. Good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Chevy. Lots of new Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Check out the savings at sunrisememphis.com. And don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. And remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought it. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. Find new roads to the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. 385 in Houston Levy and Collierville. Chevys cost less at Sunrise, partner.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 3 is here. Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, usually Brett Stats Norsworthy. We have Bryant Dacus, the normal producer of this program, in the co-hosting chair today.
Brett looks different today.
Yeah, Brett, he got younger overnight. He found the fountain of youth. But in the producing, on the producing side of things, we have our man Jay Morgan Harder. You just heard talk. But real quick, before we bring on our friend Greg Gaston from the Tiger Radio Network. What caller should we do here? What caller? We're giving away tickets.
Lucky number 5.
You think 5?
I think 5.
Let's go caller number 6.
Oh.
Caller number 6. Caller number 6 for the SMU. SMU's visiting the Tigers this weekend at 11 a.m. And our man Greg Gaston from the Tigers sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine joins us to talk about it. Greg, how's it going?
You know what, guys? You know what's interesting?
Oh, gosh.
What's ironic a bit as well?
What?
The music. Do you know the name of the song of the music that brought you guys back
Touch of
on
Grey.
the air at 5 o'clock?
Yep.
Touch of Grey by Grateful Dead.
Yep.
Between the three of you, you don't have any Grey. Between the three of you right there that are working this show,
Greg,
minus
come on. You know I like a little bit of Grateful Dead. We've done the 5 favorite songs. Remember, I don't know, it was a while ago, but I used to produce your program.
No, and you did a great job, and you're doing a great job here. And no, I love the Grateful Dead, and I love that. So I love that song. No, the point I was making was it's so ironic that with Stats not there, and I don't even know if Stats has gray hair, but I am making up
for
I have
all
gray
three
hair.
Of
you guys. No, you don't.
No, believe it or not,
I do have gray hair.
In my beard, I have a little bit of gray, Greg.
Get out of town.
I'm serious. I'm not kidding you.
Your two ages don't combine to reach mine. What are your two ages combined?
It would be, let's see,
21 and
26.
47. Okay, you could throw in a little bit
I was
of
told
Jay
there wouldn't
as
be
well.
math, Greg.
Yeah, me too.
You could throw in 13 years of Jay, and and then you reach my age. So I'm making up with the gray, though. I got plenty of gray for all of us today.
So would you say it's more than a touch of gray?
It is a lot of gray. It's almost all gray. Yeah, that's the new song, all gray. Yeah.
So Tigers this weekend versus SMU. I saw the line early was 7. It's down to 5.5 SMU's favored by, and I understand the Liberty Bowl's hard to play in. But with that line, are they assuming that Seth Hennigan is going to start?
Well, here's what's interesting, and I don't know if you heard me talk about this, Gabe, earlier in the week. We always talk about the guys in the desert, right?
Yeah.
They know. They know before everybody. They know sometimes before the coaches know. Well, I got a text from a guy, and I won't name his name.
Okay.
But he is one of the guys in the desert. And he said, Greg, I love the Tigers. And he told me the line was going to go down, but he did ask me, do I have any inside information on Seth Hennigan? I said, unfortunately, I do not, and Ryan Silverfield keeps it close to the vest. Mm-hmm. But he seemed to think that this was going to be Memphis this weekend. But, Gabe, the more and more you analyze this game, if they have Seth Hennigan, absolutely they got a chance. They're playing at home. They could probably match SMU touchdown for touchdown because you got to figure the Mustangs are going to score. That's what type of team they are. But and with all due respect to Peter Parrish, it would be a second game. He doesn't throw the ball down the field like Hennigan. He was under duress at the UCF game. I don't see how they can win that game. I'll be honest with you. So this comes down to whether or not Hennigan, during the bye week, has been able to get healthy enough to throw the ball like he's capable of throwing, because they're not going to take a chance with the guy and injure him even farther or further for his future. They are going to make sure that that's the most important thing. They're not going to throw him out there to the wolves if the shoulder is still messed up.
Right.
And he wasn't able to throw the ball more than 15, 20 yards without pain in warm-ups in Orlando. So that's the key. Look, Hennigan, they got a great chance to win. Without Hennigan, I just don't see it. I'm hoping, but I just don't see it.
So let's just say Peter Parrish is the starter on Saturday. A lot of people in their last game against UCF said they got to go with some RPOs. They didn't run a ton of RPOs against the Knights. Do you think with a week off, do you think they're able to throw in some more RPOs and we see him use his feet more and not just scrambling out of the pocket because the pocket's collapsing?
More designed stuff.
Yeah, more designed.
No question. No question. Look, if they know, you got to figure Coach Silverfield, Coach Johns, they know the situation, even though they're not forthgiving of the information, and that's understandable too. But they know, and we're not privy to practices and that information. So I would absolutely think that they've thrown a lot more at Peter Parrish, and they probably have, even if he split reps with Seth Hennigan. So it keeps the defense, in this situation, SMU's defense, on their toes. Because you're absolutely right. There wasn't a lot in the offense for his first go-around. And he was able to scramble and do some good things. He lost a lot of yards because of sacks, but he actually ran the ball pretty well when he was under duress. Now you're talking about designed plays. I would have to think there's going to be a lot more. You're going to see a little bit more misdirection, maybe some reverses, some more. I would try to get the ball in the Calvin's hands on jet sweeps and things of that nature, because you're not going to have that ability to chuck it down the field. And I'm not saying Parrish doesn't have the ability to throw it 30, 40, 50 yards. I'm sure he does, but we didn't see that in game number one, and I know he doesn't have the Hennigan arm. Right. So I think you got to get your quarterback who has the legs to beat teams more involved with those type of plays. So, Brian, I think you're absolutely dead on. You're dead on.
One of my favorite plays from last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather, obviously they just had the open week against UCF, was sort of the jet sweep motion they had going, where they would sort of run a veer-style thing where Peter Parrish would keep the ball and run it. And I would imagine they have a lot more of that in the game plan this week. But I think the issue this week, Greg, is defensively. What do you do? Tanner Mordecai, Rashee Rice, Reggie Roberson, the Grant Calcaterra from Oklahoma. And we have seen what this Memphis defense has done with passing offenses. They sort of let them get those underneath routes, and they've been scared to get beat over top. What do they do? Do they try to press a little more? Certainly, it seems like it would be tough to be more aggressive against a team with this amount of talent. But how do they contain Tanner Mordecai and those weapons on the outside?
Yeah, what do you have to lose? I think you do have to press more. I think whether it be the corners up there against the receivers and chucking at the line and being more physical, don't let them get quick off the ball to be open and be in their spots. You have to get some sort of pressure, and that has been a problem. You know it's been a problem, but you have to get some pressure on Mordecai. Because even if you only continue to rush three, which has been the DNA of Mike McIntyre's teams, although he mixed it up and he has blitzed a bit since that Navy game. The last two games, he has shown that blitz, and sometimes he's put more than three in the box. But when you have an SMU team with a quarterback that can throw it and receivers that can catch it like that, you have to make it uneasy for him. Because even if you drop back 8 and let's say you go 3-3-5 or whatever, he'll pick you apart.
Right.
These quarterbacks are good. They will find the receiver, and those receivers run great routes to just put themselves right in that spot behind the linebacker, in front of the D-back to get open. Mordecai will find them. He will bleed you to death. So you can't do that. You have to be the aggressor, in my opinion, on defense.
How much do you think, with all of the extracurriculars going on with Sonny Dykes and how many jobs he's being looked at for, how much do you think that comes into play with an SMU team coming into the Liberty Bowl, maybe a little bit sleepy against the Tigers team that hasn't looked all that great? Do you think that comes into play?
See, I don't know, but you can answer that better, Gabe, obviously, of having played at Memphis with coaches that have moved on. You tell me. I wouldn't think it would be a distraction. SMU, they lost a tough one to Houston. They could have easily had that game in overtime. Obviously, the kickoff return did them in. Shouldn't have kicked the ball to the guy, but they did. So, it's tough to bounce back from those kind of games. But guys are they're young, they're eager, they're
Yeah.
ready to go out there, and I think they'll be fine. But you tell me if
Yeah,
that's going to be some kind of a problem.
You know what, Greg? I've seen it a couple of different ways, and I think we're only 8 games in the season. I don't think we're into the point where it really starts to resonate in their heads. I remember with Coach Fuente with our team. Once you got to the Temple game, which was the second to last game, and into the SMU game, game 11 and 12, you start thinking about it. But he is being talked about for a lot of different jobs, and I wonder if this really is his last year at SMU.
Well,
it seems like it is.
He should, Gabe.
Yes,
be
absolutely.
He should especially those Texas teams.
Mm-hmm.
He should definitely be in the conversation. And I did see today, in fact, I had the story on mornings. I think it was 24/7 Sports that had out of that area that had some names, and it did not include Sonny Dykes, but that was just a bunch of the names that they heard for the first go around. Doesn't mean that they're not interested in Dykes, but that was for TCU. Haven't heard about Texas Tech, but I would think both those schools would be interested in a veteran head coach, players coach, loves to put points on the board, electric offense. He checks all the boxes. So, I think Sonny Dykes will be courted, I would imagine, by those schools and maybe even others that have opened.
And already has the Power 5 experience at Cal. I mean, he's been around the block, and his dad is a legend at Texas Tech. I mean, I think that's where he'd end up, but TCU is certainly enticing. Gary Patterson has left that job in a great spot. Now, I haven't gotten to talk to you about the college football playoff in Cincinnati and everything else. I have made this statement. I think it is incredibly purposeful what the committee did in leaving out SMU and Houston at 7-1 out of the rankings.
Yeah, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. I went on. Anybody who listens to the mornings, they know I've gone on my soapbox and I haven't gotten off it. It's ridiculous. It is so obvious what they are doing and what they have done. They don't want the Group of 5 involved. This is a Power 5 playoff. That's all it is. We had Michael Resco on the show yesterday, the commissioner of the American. He said just that. Everybody and their mom knows it's a charade. It's a sham. You might as well put Alabama already in the playoff before the season starts if you're just picking the 4 best, right? 4 best. Not the 4 most deserving of what they have done on the field, but the 4 best. Yeah, you pencil in Alabama. They're already in before the season starts. And I'm not saying that Cincinnati would beat Alabama or Cincinnati would beat Georgia. That's not the point. Is they've gone out, they've done everything they've been told. They've gone out and they've strengthened that non-conference schedule. I don't know what else to say about those guys. But then when you don't put SMU and Houston in, or one of the two, for goodness sakes, but you have a 3-loss Wisconsin, you have San Diego State and Fresno State both in there, but you don't throw an American team in there. I wonder why. Well, it would only help Cincinnati and strengthen their resume to get a win because they do play SMU during the regular season, and they could possibly play Houston in the conference championship. They made sure to keep those schools out of there so it doesn't strengthen Cincinnati's case.
And then at the bottom, I mean, to have a team in Minnesota at number 20 whose best win is over Purdue and lost to Bowling Green. I could go on and on about all of these things. But the problem I have, and the thing that always comes back every year that just frustrates the hell out of me, Greg, is when we came from the BCS, it was, okay, let's have more objectivity in here. Let's talk about resumes. Let's make losses count. Let's not just basically throw out these teams and say, oh, well, these are the 2 best teams in the country. They'll play for the national championship. The subjectivity of what is still happening in the college football playoff is the most frustrating thing year in, year out.
Yeah, I think people lie to our face, like bold-faced lies.
Right.
It's all subjective. They understand polls. They've seen those things. There's no way to avoid them. They have a preconceived notion going in. It's just ridiculous. And what they'll do is they will make sure that they focus on a certain part of the narrative or something to fit the narrative, to fit their narrative, and then it may not be the same for another school. So they'll use a certain criteria for something to strengthen, let's say, the case for Oregon. But then it's something that could be used for, let's say, Cincinnati, but they won't use it for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Or they'll bring up, well, Cincinnati has struggled the last couple of games. Well, why are the first 2 games of the season not as important as the last 2 games?
Right, 100%. And go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's ridiculous. It should all count.
It is.
But Tulane, they gave Cincinnati trouble for the first half. They ended up losing by 19 points on their home turf, and 2 of the 12 points they scored was on a safety. So they actually gave up Cincinnati 10 points. So that's a terrible performance, right? That's obviously a bad performance. Let's forget that they went in the South Bend and beat Notre Dame the way they did. Let's forget that their win over Indiana was much more convincing than Michigan State's 15-10 win over Indiana. Again, they'll find things to fit the narrative.
But here's the thing about that Tulane team. Played a 5-point game with Oklahoma. If Oklahoma wins their last 3 games, all is forgiven. I mean, seriously, it doesn't make it's so arbitrarily applied.
That was so early.
Let me ask.
That was so early in the season, Gabe. Right? They
You're
forget
right.
about that.
Let me ask you this question though. Say Wake Forest goes undefeated, Cincinnati ends up undefeated. They're both champions of their respective conferences. Wake Forest is more likely to get in, correct?
Not only more likely, I would put it at 99.9999%.
And that's the thing that gets me is because they talk about, well, Wake Forest has a better strength of schedule than Cincinnati. Well, strength of schedule, they've beaten Virginia. That's their best win.
Because what they're doing is they're just looking at the ACC. And even though we know it's a down year for the ACC, they give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not looking at all these individual schools. Let's go one by one in the ACC and then decide whether it's a strong school or not. They don't do that. They just go, it's the ACC compared to the AAC.
Right. And I brought up this example yesterday, and this is way far out there. I understand that. But, like, when you talk about strength of schedule, you look at Florida State, and I know that's a 3-6 football team. They see that win, and they say, okay, that's Florida State. That's a Power 5 program. That's a named program. People know them. But you see Jacksonville State on a schedule, you say that is the weak. That doesn't count for anything. You play a close game with Jacksonville State, we might as well throw you to the wolves. Jacksonville State beat Florida State straight up. But Florida State, if you have Florida State on your schedule versus Jacksonville State, your strength, it's just an arbitrarily applied system when you talk about strength of schedule. But
and the other thing, guys, is since when do losses not count? I mean, what's going on with I mean, there are teams with losses, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Alabama has a loss.
The Oregon.
They lost to Texas A&M,
Oregon,
right?
Too.
Oregon has lost to Stanford. Cincinnati is unbeaten. And don't tell me that Alabama has all these great wins. They beat Miami. Miami's a bad football team. I know they got a win here recently, but that's because they play in the ACC. That's because Alabama plays in the SEC. And I'm sorry, it's always been that way.
It makes me sick to my stomach to think right now, if the season ended, you'd have a team in the college football playoff who has been proven to be beaten by Stanford, who's 3-5 and has lost their 3 straight games, 2 to teams here in a row in Washington State and Washington that have been not very good. Washington State's dealing with a whole coaching switch because of COVID-19. It's just, I need to get off my soapbox. But
Gabe, I'm with you 100%. But here's another thing too. There's probably a lot of people listening right now and have listened to me for the last couple of days and other people, and they're saying that it'll all work out in the end, and it probably will work out in the end. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
It's not the point. The point is this first week, the powers that be, those people behind that wall, in that room, wherever they are, decided we are going to basically eliminate Cincinnati already. I know there's crazy things that could happen, that everybody could lose multiple games, but they basically went in there and they eliminated Cincinnati in the first week. I thought Cincinnati would be number 4, and then I thought they would figure out a way to drop that. But instead, they are. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. They did it in the first week.
And I've made my call already. I don't think Cincinnati is going to move up from 6.
No.
And you talk about crazy things happening down the stretch. Crazy things have already happened. Clemson's out of it. Alabama lost.
Yeah.
You would think that this would be the year. And it's just
How about this?
It's not.
Here's another one, guys, for you. Listen to this one. Now, you may disagree. I've already had everybody else from Harold Grader to Jerry Palm disagree with me on this one. Okay, let's go back to the show the other night. They said, and correct me if I'm wrong,
right?
Georgia, the obvious number 1, then it was Alabama, and the real conversation was 3-10. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yep.
Alabama was just about as strong as Georgia. Those two way above everybody else. Okay. Now, if Alabama runs the rest of the table, they go into the championship game, play Georgia. Georgia beats them in a close, hard-fought game where these teams are toe-to-toe, and you come out of it going, Georgia would win 5 of the 10.
I think I know where you're going, and we've talked about this.
Okay. So if Alabama loses that one, they have 2 losses, right? Mm-hmm. So even Herb Street said it the other night. Well, that eliminates Alabama. Why does it eliminate Alabama?
Exactly.
When the committee says they are easily the second-best team. Do you lose that status because you lose to the number 1 team by a close margin?
Yeah. If they lose by 3.
Where's that logic?
If they lose by 3, I mean, I'm not. We have talked about this. Brian and I have gone back and forth. Mm-hmm. It does not seem. It does not seem like even if they lose the SEC championship, all bets are off for them being in the college football playoff.
Exactly.
So, Greg, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Tigers basketball because I know you've been at both exhibitions. Obviously, next time we'll talk to you, the Tigers will have played their first official, regular season game. What were your thoughts of both Imani Bates, Landers Nolley in their first debut games of the season, and kind of you were able to see more of the team as a whole? What were your thoughts of the team?
Yeah, it's great because I get the call. I got to call those games for ESPN Plus, and I'll be calling the first game on Tuesday and a few more. And it's nice to be able to be in that position. I was able to call James Wise in the first game, so I get an up close look at these guys and being able to watch them in their infancy. But I was very impressed with Imani Bates. Look, Imani's going to make mistakes. He's still learning the game. He's obviously a guy like Jalen Duren that should still be in high school, and he's 2 years removed from the NBA, so he'll have another year after this upcoming year. But when you look at the guy, how long he is, how athletic he is, he has a really sweet shot. He hit that 3. I forget who defended him, but he hit it right over the guy. He could take the ball to the hole, but he's still learning to play that point guard. He has great. He has a great court vision. I don't know if he has the greatest handles yet, and once he gets those handles, I think he will become a perfect protege of what Penny Hardaway was back in the day. But I think he's going to take a little bit of lumps early on. He'll turn the ball over, but his upside is absolutely incredible. Like I said, the athleticism is off the chart. So I was extremely impressed with Imani Bates.
So do you think the likelihood going into the season, I know Imani Bates playing a lot more too, you think the likelihood of Alex Lomax probably being, at least for the beginning portion of the season, him being the point guard is very likely?
Yeah. I know Penny hasn't committed to it yet, but look, Alo is his security blanket. I would be a little surprised personally if Alo is not the starter, and they like to say positionless basketball, so they don't like to say point guard 2, 3. But I would imagine this opening game against Tennessee Tech on Tuesday that you'll see Lomax, Bates, then you'll see Lester Quinones, DeAndre Williams, and Jalen Duren to start. Now, again, he's non-committal yet, Coach Hardaway. He said he could possibly put Landers in the starting lineup. I don't think he will be. He's also said he can go really big with Malcolm Dandridge, which would move DeAndre Williams to the 3, which I don't like personally, but Penny's the one making the decisions, and he's forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know. But that's a possibility. We saw that in exhibition game number 1 against Lemoyne Owen. But if I was to bet, if this was on FanDuel or any of the other sites, I would probably bet that Alo gets the start.
Yep. Has Malcolm Dandridge shown you enough that he can be a reliable guy off the bench?
At times he does,
right?
But he's been inconsistent throughout his career. Now, a big part of that has been the knees. He's had the bad knees the whole time, and it's frustrating to keep working on that and rehabilitating those knees. But he's the healthiest he has been. That's what I'm told, and that's what I can see. So if you can get consistent minutes from Dandridge backing up Duren, I think that's a big plus for the Tigers, especially when they play teams that have size.
Last thing for Greg Gaston, at Greg_Gaston on Twitter, also from the Tiger sideline, will be on the sideline on Saturday at 11 a.m. for the SMU game. Me and Brian are definitely going to have a discussion about this in the next segment. But with the penalty handed out yesterday by the NCAA to Mike Boynton and OSU, Oklahoma State, for the 2022 season, not being able to play in the postseason, how concerned do you think that the Tiger basketball program, Tiger Athletics, should be about the upcoming sort of IARP decision, whenever that may be?
Look, you don't want to get caught up in being concerned and really the unknown right now. You know it's hovering, right? It's a black cloud above the program. They know it's out there. They can't be concerned about it. They can't worry about it. Fans, media will do the bulk of the worrying for the team. The team's got a game starting on Tuesday. They got a season to play. But I think it doesn't mean because Oklahoma State got the postseason ban that that's going to be what happens to Memphis.
Right.
But it doesn't bode well because what Oklahoma State did, to me, wasn't that serious. And they got rid of their assistant coach. It was, $300? Mike Boynton, just emotional speech yesterday, I thought was on point. I thought it was terrific. Yeah, there was a rule broken. Now, of course, we have NIL, and it's a whole different ball game. I just think the penalty doesn't fit the crime, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Oklahoma State's been banned from the postseason. But again, because it happened to them, doesn't mean that that's the fate that will hit the Tigers when this IARP decision is finally made. But again, the thing about the IARP is everybody should know there is no appeal process.
Yep.
So whenever they tell you, that's what you got.
Yeah, you just hope that they're neutral, like they said that they were going to be. But if we know anything about the NCAA historically, it never really is that way. Catch them on the Tiger sideline. Catch them at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning on these airwaves, Sports 56 Mornings. He is Greg Gaston. Greg, thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Man. Have a good one. So it's come to that point in the show.
Yep.
Where we're going to come back on the other side. We're going to discuss what we just sort of got a little taste of with Greg Gaston. Obviously, Oklahoma State being banned from the postseason for very small infractions in the grand scheme of things. $300 that was paid back. Tigers, of course, with the James Wiseman situation, and the IARP still investigating, about to hand down a penalty at some point. I don't know exactly when. They gave out their timeline a couple weeks ago. But we will come back. We will discuss that on the other side on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin, and I've moved now. You can catch me with all my friends from 10 to 11. We'll go all over the country to bring you whatever is happening that day. Wallow and Friends from 10 to 11 on Sports 56 and 98.5.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutosales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know and love at DeSoto Auto Sales. They are very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test-driven, checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Check out all the referrals and look at the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutosales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel and the halfway point of the NFL season. It's here, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Tonight, a great opportunity to give it a try. Thursday night football, all you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more. And if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Here's what I like tonight. Carson Wentz over passing yards. Colts money line and the Jets and Colts to go under. It's easy to use, safe and secure, and that's what makes FanDuel America's #1 sports book. You get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. You've won. It's your money. Fair and square. You get it back in.
Memphis, it's official, honey. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp, chicken, salmon, and fried lobster pastas. There's snow crab, king crab, dungeons, and more. Please don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobsters, honey. The portions, the price, the taste is only at Crab Kings. Download our app and search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings, where the flavor is king.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
The sounds of the holidays are in the air. Jingle bells, wrapping paper, maybe some ho-ho-hos. But at the Home Depot, we also love the sounds of you making the holiday magic happen. Things like ovens baking, turkeys roasting, drinks chilling, air fryers frying, washing machines washing, and your family in the middle of it all. Right now, it's the best time to save on the appliances you need to make the holidays yours. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. One week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel and the halfway point of the NFL season. It's here, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Tonight, a great opportunity to give it a try. Thursday night football, all you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more. And if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Here's what I like tonight. Carson Wentz over passing yards. Colts money line and the Jets and Colts to go under. It's easy to use, safe and secure, and that's what makes FanDuel America's #1 sports book. You get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. You've won, it's your money. Fair and square, you get it back in 2 hours. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today at FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook? Sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win during the Sunday afternoon matchup between Green Bay and Kansas City. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats No Stats. Bryant Dacus in the co-hosting chair. Today, I have a text here. Someone asked if a 2-loss Bama has ever made it into the playoffs before. No. telling you right now, no 2-loss team has been in the playoffs. But this conversation keeps coming up. If Bama loses very close in the SEC championship, goes unscathed through the regular season, gets to the SEC championship, loses by 3-7, if they're number 2, do they somehow wiggle their way in? We don't have the full answer to that, but it looks like it's a possibility that is out there depending on what everybody else does. Now, before we went to the break, did tell you we were going to talk about this. Oklahoma State banned for the 2022 postseason over a $300 charge that was paid back dating back to 2016. And my question that I posed, and I'm going to have Bryant, you start on this. How scary do you think the NCAA decision on Oklahoma State should be for the Tigers?
I mean, I think you should definitely be worried. And I think the biggest thing, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, is that sources are saying that the reason they got the NCAA tournament ban is because Lamont didn't want to work with the NCAA.
Yes, that's very true. He didn't want to cooperate because he pleaded guilty in his bribery scandal.
And so, to me, and I said this yesterday, it shows me that the NCAA is trying to assert its dominance.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that Memphis played an ineligible player knowing that he was ineligible, the NCAA said, hey, he's ineligible and you played him, not a good look.
Yes, and here's the thing. This was an appeal to the NCAA directly. The old appeal process was very stupid because they would hand out a penalty and give you your notice of allegations, and then you had to appeal to the exact same people who handed you down the penalty. Doesn't make sense at all in the grand scheme of things. I want to make no mistake about it. You are dead correct when you say the reason that the NCAA came down so hard on Oklahoma State is because Lamont Evans was not cooperating in the bribery scandal. He accepted, I think, upwards of $18,000 in the whole the entire FBI investigation. They found him. He was one of the 4 coaches that got arrested. And the fact that he's not cooperating is the reason this was handed out. But I have 3 questions about the IARP case that has been referred from Memphis. Did the NCAA know about the $12,000 payment when they cleared Wiseman? That's first and foremost. When they cleared him originally, was it fair to then make him ineligible?
Yeah, go back on it.
Right, go back on it if you knew about the $12,000 payment when you cleared him.
Yeah.
Next question, is there more? Is there other things that Penny Hardaway may or may not have done to lure other recruits, which I haven't heard of any, to the University of Memphis? And I think the most important question we have to ask ourselves, is the IARP actually neutral? Because that's what it was. It was Condoleezza Rice was part of the commission of basketball who started the IARP, said they needed a third-party arbitrator to go through these type of cases. Is the IARP legitimately neutral? History would tell us, if we're dealing with the NCAA and anybody that has to deal with the NCAA, it's not.
No. And I think the fact that the NCAA, who we've seen time and time again, is power hungry as can be, they want all the power. They want to be in charge of everything when it comes to these collegiate teams, when you go back to paying players and all of that. I think when you look and say the NCAA is relying on these people to do this, that means, they aren't going to have them put out things that they're completely against. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I hear that. And I want to get an understanding of the IARP as a whole, and we have nothing to go off of. They haven't ruled on a damn thing yet.
That's the problem.
And it's been embarrassing, and that's why the David Kustoff bill, of course, our congressman from these parts, it would create a statute of limitations on NCAA violations, yada, yada, yada. The investigations would have to be done within 2 years. They'd have a year to hand out sanctions, and that would help it. But right now, we're dealing with a entity that has not ruled on a thing. And if the Lamont Evans Oklahoma State thing tells you anything about how they rule on these things, it shows you that if you defy them in any way, shape, or form, if you don't cooperate in any way, shape, or form, they're going to go after you. Now, Oklahoma State, it still makes me sick to my stomach what they did to those kids, because none of those kids were there for what happened.
No, and you think about a guy like Musa Cisse, who just transferred there from Memphis, thinking, hey, I'll go play new place. He's probably thinking we can make the NCAA tournament, we can do all this. And now, because he could have gone somewhere else.
Yes.
I mean, he easily could have gone somewhere else. Now he's stuck there.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that the NCAA really did this when their only sort of violation that they could prove was a $300 recruiting
that was paid back
violation that was paid back. We know that Memphis defied the NCAA in this whole thing. I think, hindsight 2020, if you go back and you knew that James Wiseman was going to be suspended and was going to be ineligible, probably shouldn't have played him. Yeah. Probably.
Now here's
but then
my question.
But then on the other hand, real quick,
I'll
let you get to what you're going to say. Then on the other hand, for the most part, Oklahoma State cooperated as well as they could. The new staff, Mike Boynton, the AD, everybody within that basketball program tried to cooperate, and they still got handed down this penalty. So there is the other side of it that says at this point, it doesn't matter if you're going to defy or cooperate. Right. They're going to punish you the same.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I think
I see
that
it
goes
both
back
ways.
to the power thing. But my question is, so they ruled this a long time ago. This all happened because they appealed it. Obviously, back the old ways, you could appeal. And a lot of people were saying that the NCAA had plenty of time to say, hey, we're going to deny your appeal, Oklahoma State. Yep. And that the only reason they didn't is because they had Cade Cunningham on their team. So, I mean, let's say Memphis goes out and they start the season, 15-0. Are they going to just keep sitting back and waiting, and then after this season say, okay, now we're going to make a decision because you're not, you don't got those big guys anymore? I mean, I don't understand why we wait around with this stuff. I think we've talked about it so many times, but and if you're going to rule on it, rule on it.
And the IARP is so frustrating because you created this to be neutral, yes. You also created it to make the process quicker and less, more organized. You tried to make it take up less time.
Yeah.
And
it's not.
It is worse almost. You could argue in a lot of ways it's worse. So I saw, obviously, the Oklahoma State news, and this is the first thing that came to my mind, being in this city, is what does this mean?
Well, I think it should show you that you can't, because you can't appeal it, I think that should show you a lot about
Can't trust anybody.
I think they're going to get, I think it's going to be bad. And
well said.
I think it's, shut up, Jim Morgan.
I agree. No, it's going to be bad. I agree.
But I think the fact that you can't appeal it is going to be one of the major reasons why they went to the IRP and made this one the first one.
I mean, if Oklahoma State got a postseason ban for $300, I wouldn't doubt that $12,000 and playing an eligible player would lead to something similar. We'll just have to wait and see if they pass something down. When they pass something down, we'll be on top.
We'll be
of it.
here.
I guess that's about all I can say about that. Let's go from one case to another case in the NFL. Okay. Deshaun Watson case. That was a tough transition.
That was
Sorry,
tough.
But yesterday there was an update. Tony Busby, who of course is the lawyer repping the 22 women who are accusing Watson of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, he says that they tried to settle ahead of the trade deadline, but talks subsided because the women pushed back on non-disclosure agreements that Deshaun Watson wanted them to sign. I've heard so many different things with this case, and I can't make sense of it. Of course, when it first happened, the timing was so weird.
Oh yeah,
it's Deshaun Watson ass out of town. 22 women come up and they say that they were sexually assaulted and accused him of sexual misconduct. But it is 22 women, and the fact that we were talking about trading, possibly having him dealt at the trade deadline, and that's the only reason he was trying to settle these things, seems wild. Now, in the end of this, I think there's no doubt. With 22 cases, all civil, I wouldn't doubt if some get thrown out. I'm not necessarily sure.
It's hard to throw out 22.
Oh, you're not going to throw out 22. No. Some may get thrown out, but I would imagine a big portion of these are settled.
Yeah.
And he pays money. That's the way it looks. Now, if there's criminal things that arise, if it gets to a criminal case, all bets are off for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the fact that you see 22, wow, that's a lot. And I think, the stories corroborate with each other. This isn't, just a bunch. So it's hard for people to say, oh, it's hard to say that. I don't know if I believe him. It's not looking good for him, and I don't know what's going to happen.
And just think about the conversation a week ago. If we want to trade Dolphins, we want to trade for him, but we have to see all 22 of these cases go away. Well, good luck with that, brother. Like the fact that they were saying, "Oh, we have all the details are ironed out." Except for the 22 cases. Come on, guys. You really thought there was a chance? Come on, man. But that is wild. Real quick before we get to a break, second day in a row, Odell Beckham Jr.'s excused from practice. Again, being reported that he was prepared to attend and participate. Second straight day.
Did you see Baker commented on the?
Yeah, Baker. I heard what he had to say, and I would be frustrated if I were Baker, and I'd also be frustrated if I were Odell Beckham Jr. Safety John Johnson came out in his presser today. They signed him in the offseason. They said, we want him back. He says he thinks that most people are united in the fact, I don't know about Baker Mayfield, most people are united in the fact that they do want him back. And Mike, one question becomes, Odell hasn't said a thing.
No.
Is this all because of the LeBron tweet and Odell Beckham Sr.? Because I would say clearly no.
OBS.
This makes me think. This makes me think that this has been sort of cooking for a long time. This has been something that has been on the brain of Baker, on the brain of OBJ for quite some time now.
I'm sure it has been, and I'm sure these things are what kind of broke it off.
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Exactly. Like it's like that's sort of what we're looking at, and I think a lot of people are misinformed about the fact that Odell hasn't said anything. Odell, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and they're saying, well, he was wanting to be at practice. Well, again, you don't know how long this has been happening. You don't know what the coaches have been talking about in their meetings. What has been going on in that facility? So, second straight day though. that
it's
OBJ
interesting that this
is out.
Started right after trade deadline.
Yeah,
a little.
It's weird, and I talked about it yesterday. I don't get why they wouldn't have traded him.
That's my biggest question.
Yeah, they're paying him a lot of money, and they aren't using him. He's creating a rift in the locker room.
That's just why it's so weird to me.
Why keep him around? And not to mention, it's not like he wasn't one. It's not like Ben Simmons, who's killed his trade value. Like
I know
Odell Beckham Jr.'s trade value is still good.
Yeah,
people would want him on the team. You could get an okay return for him, but the Browns are going to Brown. Like I said yesterday. When we come back on the other side, it's officially time for Taco Bell Crunch Time on this Thursday on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Testing? Hey, can you hear me? You can? Well, if you enjoy hunting or shooting, how important is your hearing? If your kids hunt and shoot, how can you protect their hearing? Well, the guys at Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville can get you set up with a silencer for your rifle, handgun, even your shotgun. I promise they'll get you on your way to a much more enjoyable shooting experience. They have more silencers in stock than you'll find anywhere, and so much more, all in one stop. Save your hearing while you still can. Tactical Guns and Gear, Highway 72 in Collierville. Can you hear me now?
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday Night Football preview. AFC action coming up with the Indianapolis Colts hosting the New York Jets. For the Colts, Carson Wentz and Jonathan Taylor lead an offense that has improved weekly. but suffered a setback last week in an overtime division loss to the Titans. Wentz after the game.
We know where we're at. Fortunately, a loss like this, we got a quick turnaround. Thursday night football is always tough on our bodies, but sometimes it's good for your mindset to just move on. We got to learn from it. Mistakes, we got to finish better. I got to finish better, no doubt about that, and we will.
The New York Jets, with Mike White under center for the injured rookie Zach Wilson, pulled off a surprise upset over the Bengals last week for their second win of the season. Brandon Gaudin and Tony Baselli will call all the action of the Jets at the Colts on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So your headlights are getting dim? With the seasons changing, now's a great time to change them. Upgrading your headlights can ensure you'll be safe and ready to handle darkness and fog. Oh, and we recommend replacing in pairs. That way you won't have uneven lighting over time. You can get all of your lighting needs fast with our next day delivery and free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
There's nothing more frustrating than when your garage door breaks down. You're trying to get to work and it just won't open. What's the deal? Well, I'm not a garage door expert, but my friends at New Day Overhead Doors are. I was using New Day to fix my garage way before they came aboard with us. They are your one-stop shop for all your garage door and garage door opener maintenance needs. True professionals. And get this, New Day will beat their major competitors' price, oftentimes by half. That's half the price. 30 years experience, honest, dependable, family-owned business. Don't ignore those strange noises your garage door may be making. It's New Day Overhead Doors for a simple repair or new garage door opener system. To schedule your appointment, call 901-351-5177. That's 901-351-5177. New Day Overhead Doors.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
First I learned today, Bryant, go get your tacos tonight from Taco Bell.
Yeah,
You
I didn't
just
know
heard
about
the
that.
live read.
Oh.
Go get your tacos from Taco Bell. But also, Tiger Woods has resumed golf activity. He's one guy. Look, I didn't think about his golf career after that tragic accident, that terrible accident he had, but he's not a guy I would ever count out. Also, Dak Prescott is officially
Go Cowboys.
activated. Will start for the Cowboys versus the Broncos.
Yeah, and I'm actually sitting here right now trying to plan my night on how I'm going to go get my free taco. But what I learned today, some hockey news for you,
Okay,
Gabe.
let's go for it.
Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel. I knew you were going with Jack Eichel.
Traded
My
to
guy,
the
Jack.
Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, that's a big pickup for Vegas. Might not play this year. I know
Didn't he have the injuries?
He's injured, so that's what happened. There was a big disagreement there of how to handle his neck injury with Buffalo. That's why they traded him. He might need surgery. I'm not sure yet, so he might not be able to play this year. But when he is able to play, he'll be a big addition to their team.
You know what? How are your Kraken doing?
Well, not great. But, first year, they're going to take some bumps and bruises.
What I could have done without is sort of the continued blowback from the Henry Ruggs case.
Mm-hmm.
One, he posted bond, next court date for November 10th. We'll keep the updates coming. But what I really could have done without is today, Rick Neuheisel on SiriusXM says that he thinks Dan Mullen would take an NFL chance if he gets it. And what his quote was, I think he's tired of Florida. Well, I think Florida's tired of you, too. Dan.
Yeah, it's weird year for Dan. But what I could have done without today, did you see this about Karl Anthony Towns?
I have not recently. What happened?
So some fans were mad because he liked a tweet that said "free cat," #FreeCat.
He's been balling this year. What is he talking about? He went out of Minnesota?
He's saying, that's what people thought. He's saying that he got hacked.
Oh, okay.
While he was asleep, his phone got hacked and
they
that
liked
tweet.
it?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know if I buy that.
All right, man.
Maybe his hand slipped. Maybe he was looking at it. Maybe he was looking at all the free cat tweets and his finger slipped. I don't know.
What we're looking forward to. Georgia State at Louisiana tonight on ESPN.
Yeah.
Louisiana's a good team. We got Thursday night football as well. What we got in the NHL and the NBA?
Well, my Kraken play tonight. We got Lightning, Maple Leafs, Golden Knights, Senators over in the NBA. We've got 76ers, Pistons, Rockets, Suns, Lakers, and Thunder. Some really good games.
Yep, but that's all we have for today. Thank you to Bill Bender, Keith Smith, Greg Gaston for their contributions to the program. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow, Alan Bell, Bruce Marshall to get you to the weekend with some good picks. Drew Barrett will join us. We'll also have our first National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. But make sure you have a good night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience.